So everybody, welcome to Barbarian Builds. This one's going to be slightly different. I would like to bring you guys a review. I know that there are a lot of people hyped for this blaster, and I know that it's not actually that widely available yet. So without further ado, I'm going to get into an unboxing, we'll give you a chronograph reading, and overall just give you my opinions. I have an entire bucket over there full of like pretty much every single Nerf pistol we've ever made. So I feel quite qualified to give you at least my opinion. I'm definitely not Coop 772, nowhere near that good, but I'll do my best to try and give you all the relevant information so you can make a good purchase decision. So straight away, we've got it out of the box, we can see that it is huge. This is a standard hammer shot. You can see that the hammer shot, although a little bit bulkier at that back, is nowhere near quite as big as this is, especially when we put the barrel on it. It comes with 6 standard elite darts, which, although elite darts aren't very good, it's still better than what we're doing with hyper. At least we can actually fully load this one. But yeah, let's get it out of the box. Let's see how it kind of feels and how it performs. It looks, I have to say, really cool. I know that I personally will be painting mine, but it looks actually really nice, especially if you're into Fortnite. I'm personally not that into Fortnite, but I like the blaster, so I thought I'd pick it up. And the detail of it is actually really quite nice. I'm actually kind of sad that I'm painting this because, especially this handle area, it just looks really sad. It kind of looks like an oversized Rebel pistol, and I love the Rebel pistols, so that's really good. It'll be interesting to see what this catch mechanism, if we can sand back down, just so we have that option to put on the barrel, take the barrel off. We'll just see how that goes. But overall, it looks really cool. Let's get it unboxed. So straight out of the box, I have to say, it feels very nice. It feels very comfortable. Comparing it to a hammer shot, the first thing I noticed is that I have relatively small hands. I'm a small man. But I can very comfortably reach this hammer and pull it back. I don't have to try and stretch around like I do on the hammer shot. So if you're someone with slightly smaller hands, or you find that hammer shot primed to be a little bit far away, this should be a much better option for you. I haven't put the barrel on yet, because I want to wait to see if I can make that easily detachable. But firing it seems to be getting standard performance. I will definitely put that over the chronograph for you. Actually, that last shot looked like it was firing really well. Obviously, firing standard elites is not very accurate, but overall, my initial impression, I'm definitely not as good as Drac when it comes to spinning. Can I catch it? Yes. I'm definitely not as good as Drac when it comes to spinning, but so far, I really like it. Let's put it over a chronograph. And quick word before I show you the chronograph. I have added what seems to be just some electrical tape to the tip. But what I've done is I've taken the little clips that would normally clip into the barrel. And what I've done is I've sanded them down about 80% of the way, about 4/5, and then I've wrapped a layer of electrical tape around. And what that means is that I can now add on this barrel with a nice snug friction fit. But if I want to get it off, it'll pull off. So that seems like a really good way if you want your barrel to be detachable. I know I personally did, because this is cool, but it's very impractical. But I would like to mention a word on practicality. This barrel is really wide in diameter. Its inner diameter is much wider than that of the Nerf dart, which means that you're going to not see nowhere near as much barrel drag as you would do in a standard barrel this long. So it'll be interesting to see when we put it over a chronograph how that affects performance, but should be good. I've definitely waffled on for long enough to the chronograph. So, time to a chronograph our Fortnite 6SH. I've loaded up 3 standard elite darts and I've loaded up 3 waffle darts. If anyone's watching this, my purchase advice would be buy the waffle darts. They fly way more accurately and they're way cheaper than Nerf brand darts. But let's see how we're performing. 55.4, 65.9, 65.3, 66.7, 52.3. Let's compare that to my hammer shot. I've taken a few more shots now with the barrel on. I didn't film it because I kept missing, because I have absolutely no accuracy when it comes to trying to aim this barrel this long. But the performance stayed the same. I observed no noticeable drop in accuracy with elite darts or waffle darts. They fired perfectly fine throughout this long barrel. Probably because it has a nice wide inner diameter. Let's compare it to the hammer shot. 61. 61 dead, that's quite impressive. 55.1. 66.7. So as we can see, very, very similar performance. I have absolutely no concerns about the Fortnite 6SH underperforming. It's performing standard elite performance for the type of pistol it is. So whilst we were joking about accuracy when at the Chronograph, I noticed that Sweet Revenge has rail for sights, the Hammer Shot has rail for sights, but there is no rail whatsoever on the Fortnite 6SH, which is a little bit disappointing. It'd be nice to, I mean, even the Mediator stock pistol that is tiny has a rail attachment point. So that would have been nice to see. And a couple things sort of before I sign off. I just kind of want to give you like a little bit of an opinion and an overall verdict and little things I've noticed, etc. But the first thing I want to say is, if you're a really, really sort of like big Fortnite fan, and like you look at this, and even if you're just a really big fan of this kind of big iron style, I can't really give you any objective reason not to pick it up. I personally really like it, and I think if this is your style, you're definitely going to really enjoy it. But there are a few things I want to point out. The first thing I want to point out is that this grip is quite large. As in, like, it cartoonishly gets quite large. So, although my hand rides quite high, I find it quite comfortable. If you're someone who is quite young or has really quite small hands, it is going to become actually quite challenging just sort of to hold this in general. And I do want to preface that. This is actually really, really quite big. I measured it against my Elite 2.0 Turbine. It is longer than the Elite 2.0 Turbine, which is kind of like their big flagship Elite 2.0 blaster. So it is really quite large. Like, I don't want to mislead anyone by thinking that this is a sidearm, because it's basically nearly as long as my leg. So it's a big blaster. But other things I want to point out as well is I picked this up for £22, which is about $28. It's about the same as a Hammer Shot. But bear in mind that this is a lot bigger than a Hammer Shot, and they have to pay the Fortnite Epic Games licensing tax. So they have cut some costs somewhere. The overall sort of feel of the body does feel a little bit cheaper than something like a Hammer Shot. I do want to make that, I don't want to make it sound like it's a cheap product, because it feels really nice, but it feels cheaper than a Hammer Shot. Like, if I really squeeze this grip, I can sort of compress it, it's not a little bit hollow, and the rotation mech is a little bit sloppy if you really, really shake it. I've not had any misfeeds, it's been reliable, but I do want you to bear that in mind, that it could potentially wiggle away, which is a shame, because then your dart isn't where you think it is. It's kind of like Russian roulette then, when you're trying to run around. But overall, the rotation mech is snappy. I do actually really like the rotation mech. The trigger pull and the prime are actually both quite stiff, as I noticed. Like, it's quite a stiff pullback, and it's quite a stiff trigger pull. So, if you have, especially again, if you have a young kid, unless they've been doing a lot of fun wars at school, this is going to be quite hard to like sort of pull back and use effectively. And I'd say that trigger pull also is a little bit stiff. But I personally think it's like nothing so uncomfortable. But then again, I'm 20, so I'm an adult. This is designed for a kid. Other things to note as well is, as I said, I sanded down the barrel, put a little bit of tape over it. And now it's detachable, but it's a real shame that it's not actually detachable. They did it with a Fortnite suppressed pistol, where they sort of had a standard attachment lug. But with this, it's proprietary. It is quite simple. It took me literally like a minute to make it detachable, and it hasn't ever like flown off. It's proper on there. But please do spare that for if you do want it to be detachable, because I personally really like this, but I would use it sort of. And also, as you saw, I couldn't quite prime it there because it is quite stiff. So just bear that in mind. It's definitely not something I would recommend for a kid, considering it is a bit bigger, it's a bit stiff. But if you really, really like this platform, you think it's really, really cool, I cannot give you any objective reason not to buy it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've had it about 24 hours and I've been playing with it non-stop because I just think it's really cool to be like, sort of like cowboy style. Like, I don't think I can spin it when it's that big, but it's really good fun. And overall, would I recommend it over a hammer shot? It depends. If this is your style, pick it up. If your plan is to take this competitively, you think, oh look, if I take the barrel off and it's got 6 instead of 5, so it's going to be better than a hammer shot, right? No, I would argue that the hammer shot is overall a bit nicer quality, and the cylinder is more open in the hammer shot, whereas this is quite closed off, so it makes it a bit more difficult to feed. And that stopping mechanism does make it a little bit less reliable. I would not put my life on this in the Humans vs Zombies game, because I wouldn't trust it to rattle. But overall, as I say, I really like this Nerf blaster. I've had a lot of fun with it. If it's your style, definitely pick it up. I will not give you an objective reason not to pick it up. I mean, I think if you're a competitive Nerfer, you already know that this isn't going to be necessarily the best choice. But I really like it. I hope this review has been helpful. And until next time, I've been Conan. It's Hanu. Okay, so I'm not very good at fanning it.